Imagine this, you borrowed 30,000 naira today, just 30,000. 2 months later, you check your phone and somehow we now owe over 180,000. Your phone is blowing up, unknown numbers calling every hour, messages threatening to visit your home or contact your workplace. Then it gets worse. People in your contact list start calling you. Why did someone message me saying you are a debtor? Your reputation is now part of the debt. Now pause. This is not a movie. This is something thousands of Nigerians have reported experiencing. And today, we are going to break down exactly how the system works. Not emotionally, not politically, but structurally. Because what looks like a simple loan is actually a machine. I'm Cormac, and this is Cormac Explains. Let us get into it. You do not plan to enter a debt trap. It starts small. You need money, transport, food, rent, emergency. You search Fast Loan Nigeria on Play Store, Google, or anywhere, and you see something like, get 50,000 naira in 5 minutes, no collateral, instant approval, no paperwork. Between 220 and 224, millions of Nigerians downloaded loan apps. Some were legitimate, some were not. But here is what they all shared. They made borrowing feel like nothing. A few clicks, a few permissions, and money appears. No shame, no questions, no delay. But speed has a cost. And when you are making decisions under pressure, you do not analyze the system, you just enter it. Now, most people think the problem is simple. They say things like, I borrowed too much. I did not read the terms. I was irresponsible. And that sounds reasonable, but it is only half true. Because the real problem is not just your behavior. The real problem is the structure designed around your behavior. These apps are not built to help you. They are built to keep you inside a circle. And once you see that circle, you stop blaming yourself and start understanding the system. Let me show you something most people never calculate. Most loan apps advertise something like 5% interest. Sounds small, right? But what they do not always emphasize clearly is the time frame. That 5% is often a very short cycle, and sometimes 7 to 14 days. Now, let me run the numbers. You borrow 50,000 naira. After one short cycle, you may owe 65,000 naira. That is 30% effective interest in a few weeks. If you cannot pay, that next cycle applies charges again. Now, you are paying interest on 65,000, not the original 50,000. This is where people get trapped, not because they do not understand the math, but because the math moves faster than their income. And here is the key. The system does not break when you struggle. It makes more money. You think the goal is for you to take loan and move on. It is not. The goal is to repeat behavior. Borrow, repay, borrow again, and eventually borrow, fail, pressure. Because once you default, a different system activates. Not just financial, psychological. Some loan apps have been found to prioritize default fee and rollover over customer welfare. Let that sink in. The system is not designed for you to leave. It is designed for you to stay. Now, here is where it gets uncomfortable. When you install these apps, you will grant permission, contact list, storage, sometimes more. At that moment, it feels normal. You just click allow. But that access is leverage. Now, let me be precise. There have been multiple complaints and regulatory actions in Nigeria regarding certain loan apps misusing users' data and engaging in aggressive recovery practices. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, the FCCPC, has intervened in several cases. In 2024 alone, the FCCPC fined multiple loan apps for privacy violation and removed several from Google Play Store for harassing borrowers and misusing their contact lists. Some apps were removed from the Play Store, others were sanctioned. In reported cases, loan apps accessed borrowers' contact lists and messaged friends, family, and even workplace colleagues, sometimes sharing details of the debt.
There's something I want to understand. Someone is owing you money, and you are calling me. So what do you want me
as
to
an
do?
emergency contact? So you can tell him that's why I registered your number as an emergency contact. So you can reach out to him in case his number is not responding. So that's why I registered yours.
Please, I want you to understand something. You know, this thing does not make any sense, you know. For you to be calling me and mentioning the person's full name, telling me that the person is owing you money. So you really think I'm going to call the person now and be like, go and pay your loan? You really think I will go and do that?
I don't care if you call him or not. I'm just doing
don't fucking call me again. Are you guys crazy? You're embarrassing people because of how much?
No problem.
How much are they owing you that you're embarrassing people? You are calling me. You are calling me that somebody is owing you. What the fuck do you want me to do? Are you guys crazy?
This is not speculation. This is documented in public complaints and regulatory findings. You can find these complaints in the FCC website or consumer protection platforms. And here is the pattern. When repayment fails, pressure increases, and in some cases, that pressure extends beyond the borrower. This is where the system becomes dangerous, because debt stops being private, it becomes social. There have been a widespread report of contact messaging, public shaming tactics, harassing calls in odd hours. Now understand this clearly. I'm not saying every loan app does this, but enough cases exist to show a pattern, and that pattern is simple. If financial pressure does not work, social pressure might. And that social pressure is very powerful because it attacks your identity, not your wallet. One person reported receiving calls at 3 in the morning for weeks. Another said their employers were contacted even though the loan was personal. When debt becomes public, shame becomes the collector, and shame is harder to escape than interest. Now, here's the part most people miss. The app does not need you to default immediately. They prefer you to pay few times first. Why? Because each successful repayment builds trust. You borrow more, you rely on them, you stop looking for alternatives. And then, when life happens, and it always does, the trap closes. One late payment, one missed cycle, and suddenly, the system you trusted turns against you very fast. That same app that helped you now owns your entire contact list. That is not a glitch, that is how the system works. Now let me be clear, not all loan apps are predatory. Some are registered with regulatory bodies, some follow guidelines, some operate within legal frameworks. For example, apps like Carbon and Fair Money operate within regulatory frameworks and have publicly committed to ethical lending practices. The problem is not every app. The problem is the structure that allows bad actors to exploit gap in regulation. Short-term loans, high effective fees, fast cycles, users' data as leverage. That combination creates outcomes many people are not prepared for. And when you are under pressure, you do not read the fine print. You click allow. And that click is where the system begins. If you are already inside the system, here is what you can do. First, stop taking new loans to pay old ones. This almost never works, it just deepens the cycle. Second, document everything. Screenshots, call logs, messages. Create a record. Third, communicate formally. Send an email to the company, state your situation, create a paper trail. Fourth, report abusive behavior. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission has intervened in loan app cases. You can file a complaint to their website. And finally, seek professional advice if needed. Legal or financial counsel can help you understand your options. But most importantly, only borrow what you can pay back. Don't play. Remember the person from the beginning, the one whose phone will not stop ringing. They did not plan to be there, they just needed money. And the system is designed to turn your need into profit. These apps are not emotional, they are systems, and systems respond to behavior. Once you understand speed versus cost, convenience versus control, relief versus consequence, you move differently. This is not about fear, it's about clarity. And now you can see the system. You are no longer just a user, you are someone who understands the system. I'm Cormac and this is Cormac Explains. If you want more breakdown like this, how money system actually work, who benefits, and how to protect yourself, hit subscribe. Comment below. Have you ever had a bad experience with loan apps? And before you go, check the FCCPC website to see the list of approved and blacklisted loan apps in Nigeria. See you in the next breakdown.